is time for the college football season 2025 and our first chance to sit down and visit with head coach Mike Gundy on game week as we get ready for UT Martin. So there was a lot new and a brand new coaching staff. So what was the biggest challenge for you in getting that new coaching staff going?
Well, making a lot of changes at once was time consuming, and it was difficult with some of the coaches I've had here for a long time. And I've said this a number of times, I guess maybe this will be the last time, but in all fairness to the staff that was here for the last 10, 12, 14 years with me, the majority of those guys have been with me a long time. When I felt like we need to make a change at the coordinator positions, then those guys are going to bring in their own coaches that knew their system and their terminology and, for lack of a better term, spoke their language. Mm-hmm. And so we had to get rid of one heck of a coaching staff that had a tremendous amount of success here for a long time. But in doing that, the interesting side, if you start on defense with bringing in Coach Grantham, I hadn't had any experience with him. He'd been down in the southeast part of the country or the NFL throughout his career. And then he had his guys, his 7 or 8 guys that he had that he wanted to bring with him, and I didn't have any experience with any of those guys. The majority of them either played for him or coached for him at one of those schools down in the southeast part of the country. So the first time I ever got to see them in action was in spring ball. And it was a learning experience for me, and it was interesting for me to watch them. And I'm very pleased with the results. I think that Todd is highly intelligent. He is a grinder. He's old school from a work standpoint. He's been around some of the top defensive guys in football at both levels over his 30-something year career or longer. So I think he's going to be really good for us at Oklahoma State. He's been very demanding of the players and very demanding of his position coaches on the defensive side. So then we went and got Coach Meacham, who I was a little more familiar with. Doug's got great ties in the state of Texas and relationship standpoint, recruiting standpoint. He understands what we're trying to get accomplished on offense. A lot of similarities from what we've done here over the last 20 years. And he was able to put his staff together in a little bit different manner. It was difficult to find a quarterback coach. We did a lot of research. There's a lot of guys out there, but it was just difficult for what we were looking for. But he finally got his staff put together, and I'm pleased with what we're doing there. A little bit different challenge with not having a quarterback that has any experience at all. And then on special teams wise, we have Joe and Sean, so they're returning guys from last year. But it was a very time-consuming challenge that was extremely important, and I think that we've got the right guys in place.
What's the best thing that can be done to do the most to help the quarterback position, given the fact that you don't have experience?
We had to be able to run the football. We want to rush the ball every year, but our experience of dealing with young quarterbacks is you got to be able to run the football and don't put them in a position that they have to make all the plays to win the game.
Yeah.
So you treat them a lot differently than we did Zach Robinson in year 3 and Mason Rudolph in year 3 and Spencer Sanders in year 3 and Whedon in year 2. You don't put a lot on them, in my opinion, and you let them go out and play. And just to understand, just like we talked about on the show earlier in the week, young quarterbacks are going to make mistakes, so you got to get ready for it. You just want to minimize those mistakes because there's no substitute for experience. The best ones in the country, when they were young, they make some mistakes. So we try to minimize those and let these guys grow as they play and bring them along because we got the right guys. They're just not experienced at this time.
Because of the need for experience, does that make it important to find one guy and try to find the guy, so to speak?
We all would like to, but there's a side of me and us as a staff that understands, and in the world of college football with free agency, players who transfer in here and compete and show that they're willing to buy into our system and our culture and practice well enough, at some point we got to put them on the field and let them play. The quarterback position is the most difficult. We've talked about that. Mm-hmm. It's always because you don't run them in a game and share reps a lot. Wide outs you can roll them in. Corners you can roll in. Running backs you can roll in. I feel like we'll play 27 players in the first game that have never played at Oklahoma State. That's about 3 times what's normal. So we'd like to be able to get a guy and get him out there as soon as possible, but it has to be the right situation and the right time.
We know the personnel in pretty much every instance. Each position on the offensive line is different, but what is different about the offensive line as a group? What's changed?
Well, the majority of the starters are going to be players who've transferred in here.
Right.
Now, we've worked with them. I feel pretty good about it, but at least 2 of them didn't get here until June.
Right.
So they weren't even here in spring ball, maybe 3. It's slipping my mind right now. But either way, we're going to see their continuity develop over 2 or 3 or 4 games. Just the language and the way they talk to each other.
Right. Iman Oates, your defensive tackle, who started here last year, made an interesting comment on your radio show earlier in the week. He said he feels like he understands the defense and the structure better than he ever has as a collegiate player, and it gives him tremendous confidence. What about Todd Grantham has allowed him to teach the way he has and be able to get it in place and get guys comfortable so quickly?
Well, that's great news that he feels that way. I'm going to go back to what I said earlier, that he brought in his guys, and from day one, which was back in January, they were able to get those guys together and start speaking the same language to the players. Now, interestingly, there's 6 or 7 of those guys that could be playing on that side of the ball that didn't get here till June. Mm-hmm. So it's only been 3 months for those guys. But I think the advantage of them knowing the system and they could get it instilled into players fast. And I think that these guys are very demanding. These coaches demand the players understand the defense, and I think they demand production in practice. And I feel confident from that standpoint. Now, I'm not so naive to think that essentially everybody's new, so there could be some growing pains. But what I want to see, I get this question a lot, how are we going to be, what's our team like? Well, I'm not sure. But what I want to see is us be much better in Game 4 than we are in Game 1, and Game 8 than 4, and toward the end of the season. We should be improving based on the coaching and the development of the team and the experience they're gaining in the systems that they're learning. And if that's happening, then we're on the right track.
Final thought, as we get ready to kick this off, which word do you think describes where you are better? Are you excited? Are you curious? Are you anxious? I mean, what's the right word for your state of mind as you go into this very unique season?
Well, you hit 3 of them.
Okay.
I'm extremely excited to watch them play.
Yep.
I'm very curious as to how some of them are going to play.
Yep.
And I'm always anxious. We're to a point in the season now that I've noticed over the last 3 or 4 nights, I don't sleep through the night anymore. And you know when things are on your mind. You wake up at 2 in the morning and it's amazing, like it's on your mind. Mm-hmm. And then again at 3 and then again at 4. And I'm to that point in the season now, and I have some positive anxiety. Not anxiety, like it's positive because I'm anxious to see, okay, what do we have to do to correct some of the things that we run into, because I feel good about the group of guys that we have playing in the games. And that's what makes me excited, but that also creates the curiosity.
Sure. That's Coach Gundy. Looking forward to the opener Thursday at 6:30, the Cowboys and UT Martin. We'll see you here again next week.